you run me through the importance of the accountability sessions that Nuviva run and why they're important for a client's success?
Accountability is probably one of the main things that separate us from other places. Accountability, I mean, how many people have dieted on their own and they do good and then maybe they don't know, they start getting stuck and they tend to waver. They tend to kind of start falling off the plan. No one's kind of holding them accountable to it. We actually provide weekly accountability in the program. One, they're coming in for a service. Number two, it's kind of, they're paying for coaching and accountability, somebody to kind of show them the direction they need to go in. I think in anything in life, you should have a coach, whether if you're trying to get better at something, I need to get better at speaking, but have a coach to, whether you want a business coach or if you have a personal trainer or, whatever it is you're looking to improve on, we're kind of that coach that kind of take the guesswork out of it for the client, but also to hold them accountable to what they're signing up for, because they're required to come in every single week into this program. And that's the biggest thing with us is like some programs, you're paying whether you come in or not. And so most of the time, if you're going to get charged whether you come in or not, you're probably going to come in. If you know you're coming in, you're probably not going to eat as bad. And also too, life happens. And a lot of people hit roadblocks in dieting in general. And some people kind of hit that roadblock and fall off and sometimes never get back on. Whereas we could kind of, they come in, they hit a roadblock, that's fine, forget about it. We mentally, psychologically help them move forward past that and just start slowly changing those habits over time. So the accountability is probably the biggest thing that we offer, and what separates us from most people is being able to kind of make the client accountable to the week, but accountable to themselves.
And so you've mentioned their accountability to themselves, but as we know, people around us are going to influence how we act, how we eat. Everything is going to be impacted and influenced by these people. Now, when I'm somebody who's making these changes, starting to see those advancements or those improvements that we wanted, how do your coaches in Nuviva help a client go through these social interactions that are going to be pretty uncomfortable because of the perceived bullying in a way of their friends and family that are like, hey, you should be having this. Oh, you've been really good. Here's like, you got to treat yourself, and all those sort of things that we're going to have to deal with as a progressing client with Nuviva.
We talk about this with the client when they first start. A lot of people tend to put horse blinders on when they're trying to lose weight, and they look at like, this is my life and this is my forever. And I'm not going to be able to eat this. We try to let them know this is a temporary moment in your life to get you back to where you want to be, get you back to where you're healthy. This is your goal. It's nobody else's goal. It's not my goal for you. Obviously, if you're happy, you're healthy, clothes fit the way you want, like that's all that matters. So, and we let them know you're going to have people that are going to try to tell you to stop when you don't want to stop. You're going to have people try to derail you. I mean, I see it a lot of times with the females, their husbands don't really support them in the process. Mm-hmm. So it does make it hard for them, or their friends who are maybe overweight that they used to hang out with before, keep trying to pull them away, maybe because it's nothing with them. It's maybe their weight loss success is making them feel bad about themselves. And we talk about this with the client from day one and how to kind of, stay true to your goals, try to stay focused on your goal. Eventually we'll be able to get you back into normal life, how to live a normal diet, how to have that balance in your life, but to get away from the things that maybe got you here, or at least separate yourself from those people or those things. Not saying you got to get rid of them for life, but kind of put some distance. If it's not in line with your goals, you gotta find a new avenue or new people to kind of support them, I guess.
Yeah, I noticed that when I used to personal train back in Australia. Like, it's exciting when we want to change our lives, but when you're presented with, at the beginning of the journey, that you may or may not lose friendships, but potentially grow apart of some people, that can be the thing that scares them away from even starting improving their lives. However, when I saw on the flip side, somebody who was 12 months down the line, it was no longer a question for them. They weren't even disappointed or hurt. They were just like, I can't hang out with them as often because we're not going to go and get smashed at the bar. I'm not going to go and eat a bunch of pizzas, but that's okay. We'll hang out on the small things we have in common. I'm just not going to hang out with them as much anymore. So I think if people are listening to this, just to build on what you've said and what Alex has said, there's a fear of losing, but over time, if you haven't lost something, you've realized you've gained something instead. It just takes time like anything else. But as humans, we need to experience it ourselves.
Especially when it comes to health. There's people, whether it be drug addiction or alcoholism, or that you almost have to remove yourself from that situation that's creating, maybe they're fine, maybe they eat what they want, maybe they're not overweight and they don't have predisposition to certain things, in their life when it comes to, like diabetes or, cardiac issues. So the client needs to kind of do what's best for them. And definitely there's going to be some loss there. Hopefully some big loss on our end, as far as like taking some weight off, end of the day, you got to take care of yourself, and wherever the client's going to be happy and healthy, there's no better place to be, I guess, for the client. And like I said, if it's getting rid of something that maybe isn't that healthy, they're better off.
I just thought of another question, actually. So accountability, you've touched on the importance of that. We know the importance of coming in physically and checking in. During COVID, when there was that brief time where it wasn't really required in Florida and people could do it digitally, did you notice any shift in results where there was a change with accountability requirements?
There's a level of accountability, a huge difference in accountability when someone physically has to come in and be seen. And obviously it's hard for someone to lie to your face versus over the phone. I could tell you whatever that was, especially if I don't see you. If it's a Google Meet, you only see part of it. The results went down. The results were still there, better than it would have been with them on their own or with no accountability. So we still provided the accountability. And we did see success. The people that are self-motivated or self-disciplined, they did really, really well. It's just reinforcing what they needed to do. But the people that struggle to kind of get that willpower and accountability, I felt like the results definitely got cut in half, if not less, by not having to come in, for the ones that opted to not come in. Just the level of care and what we're able to do in-house in person is far better in house than over the phone. It's just, I could see them. I could tell like they are moving, they're not moving. The results definitely were not what they should have been, but they're still good. I'm not going to say it's better than nothing. Yeah,
I think there's a power in vulnerability, which a lot of people are terrified of doing it. Coming in physically to see a coach takes a level of vulnerability because it's like you're there on the scale, is getting measured by a person who, even though they're not judging you, you're gonna feel like you are. And I think personally, again, from my experience with personal training, I venture to say this would be the same with your clients. That vulnerability makes you as a client more motivated to succeed because the weight and the guilt and the shame of not succeeding is greater than the effort required to just do what you have to do.
Having someone physically come into the office and have to be in front of somebody and get on our scale, because that's a variable. I mean, different scales. I could get 10 different scales and they're all going to weigh different. If you put it on the crack of the tile, they're going to weigh different. If you weigh in the morning versus nighttime, that's going to be different. For us to see that week to week transition of the client, not to mention they're spending the money, the event of coming in, of actually physically coming into the office and having someone pour more into you versus just it's just less personal. It's easier to mess up and not feel bad about it versus if I came in and I saw you and I could see that Blake's giving me 110% to help me out and I'm not living up to what Blake's here to do, like trying to do for me. That's where I feel like we lost a lot of that with the non-personal in-office interaction. And thank God we're back to where we're now. I mean, results have been better than ever coming out of COVID. Like I said, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I think a lot more people are so much more aware and wanting to do something about their health to prevent anything in the future, monkeypox or something like that,